Whether it's a gradual turn to the dark side or an immediate in-the-moment embrace of villainy, some of the most noteworthy moments in pro wrestling history have been heel turns. While Roman Reigns' turn at SummerSlam 2020 has led to a generational run for the head of the table, there have been other phenomenal turns which have sadly been followed by absolute rubbish. With that in mind, then, I'm Andrew from What Culture Wrestling, and here are 10 amazing heel turns that WWE immediately ruined. Number 10. Shinsuke Nakamura. Having debuted on the main roster the year before, Shinsuke Nakamura won the 2018 Royal Rumble and was lined up to challenge for AJ Styles' WWE Championship at WrestleMania 34. Of course, a Mania loss to Styles caused the King of Strong Style to turn heel after the match, laying out the phenomenal one with a low blow. A low blow? Well, that's an absolutely fine way to cement a villainous turn. The problem is, this turn was followed by low blow after low blow after low blow after low blow after, you get the idea. For 3 months of TV and pay-per-views, Nakamura developed an obsession with punching Styles in his P1. As a result, Nakamura became a joke figure, not least in how he still couldn't dethrone AJ as the WWE champion. Likewise, for Styles, it made him look like a total idiot for not just wearing a cup. Number 9. Tatanka. Tatanka was quite the popular babyface for the World Wrestling Federation in the early 90s, as a Native American amassed an impressive 2-year undefeated streak, picking up wins over the likes of Rick Martel, Bam Bam Bigelow, Doink the Clown, The Warlord, The Mountie, Razor Ramon, and Shawn Michaels. Once his undefeated days came to a halt at the hands of Ludwig Borger in October 1993 though, Tatanka was left treading water until he turned heel at SummerSlam 94. That turn saw Tatanka, who had accused Lex Luger of selling out to Ted DiBiase, turn on Luger and join DiBiase's $1 Million Corporation. This was a genuinely huge shock, and with the $1 Million Man to serve as his mouthpiece, it looked to be the ideal way to get Tatanka to that next level. Unfortunately, rather than propel Tatanka into the main event picture, this heel turn just made him another generic member of the $1 Million Corporation, and he'd largely be featured in throwaway tag team matches once his rivalry with Luger ended. Such a waste, man. Number 8. 1-2-3 Kid. On a total side note, it's brilliant to see Sean Waltman getting his flowers these days. A revolutionary, a game changer, and an all-round incredible talent, Waltman has overcome demons and some incredible personal lows to now be in a great place with his life. Anyway, as 1-2-3 Kid, Waltman was a great underdog babyface who wowed audiences with a frenetic, high-flying offense rarely seen at that time. Still, when the Kid turned heel in November 95, it threw up plenty of intrigue as to how this natural babyface would fare as a no-good coward under the stewardship of Ted DiBiase. As for that heel turn, 1-2-3 Kid, serving as special guest referee, screwed over Razor Ramon in a match which pitted the bad guy against the $1 Million Corporation's Psycho Sid. Much like Tatanka had done before him, the Kid had sold his soul to the $1 Million Man. Unfortunately, any chance of taking the heel 1-2-3 Kid seriously was ruined at In Your House 6 just 3 months later. At that pay-per-view, of course, we would see the 1-2-3 Kid lose a crybaby match against Razor Ramon, a match which saw the Kid doused in baby powder, wear a diaper, and suck on a baby bottle. Jeez, man. Number 7. Big Cass. Not so much a heel turn per se, but more a solidifying of a heel character. The heel turn of Big Cass actually happened in the aftermath of Extreme Rules in 2017. Of course, that turn happened after it was revealed Cass had been responsible for several backstage attacks on Enzo Amore. Adding a new aggressive side to the former Colin Cassidy's natural size and power, there was genuine potential for Cass to become a main event heel. And then the big fella got hurt. After 8 months on the shelf though, due to a torn ACL, Big Cass returned in April 2018 and doubled down on his villainous act by taking out uber babyface Daniel Bryan. Unfortunately, WWE took a dump on the momentum of the Big Cass Daniel Bryan rivalry, and how did they do that? They bafflingly gave Cass the motivation that he just hates small people. So much so, he put a beating on a little person on an episode of SmackDown. With that, fans struggled to take Big Cass seriously, and once again we were left questioning the taste of WWE. Number 6. Sid Justice. Having arrived as the special guest referee in the SummerSlam 91 main event, Sid Justice immediately marked himself out as a thorough babyface, complete with saving Randy Savage and Miss Elizabeth when Jake Roberts and The Undertaker looked to ruin their wedding reception. Sid was a good person doing good things and teaming up with the company's top star, Hulk Hogan, in one of the most non-babyface moves ever. Hogan, who was already eliminated by this point, helped eliminate Sid from the 92 Royal Rumble. While this was a heel move by Hulk, WWF framed Justice as the bad bad guy when he rightly turned on the Hulkster shortly after this, Sid walking out on a tag match the pair had at Saturday night's main event 30. What followed was a few months of Justice tearing through fools, and he had his sights on Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 8. This was it, the chance to cement Sid as a top villain with a huge win over the aging, stale Hulk Hogan. Instead, the decision was made to not have Sid win. Stupidly, the plan was for Papa Shango to interfere and give Hogan the DQ win, which would have done absolutely nothing for Sid Justice. Regardless, Papa Shango was of course late to the ring, causing Sid to kick out of Hogan's patented leg drop before the Ultimate Warrior made his return. With that, Sid Justice became just another generic monster heel who Hulk Hogan had overcome, and Sid would walk out on the company just a matter of weeks after WrestleMania 8. Number 5. Jon Stewart. While not the most conventional wrestling name on this list, the 2015 heel turn from Jon Stewart was not only shocking, but it was immediately made redundant by the simple fact that WWE did zero with it. Having poked fun at WWE champion Seth Rollins during the Raw segment in the lead up to Rollins' SummerSlam 2015 match against John Cena, Stewart surprised the wrestling world by attacking Cena with a chair at the biggest party of the summer. This turn was explained away by a brief segment on the following night's Raw, where the then Daily Show host said he did what he did so John Cena wouldn't break Ric Flair's record of 16 World Championships, which was swiftly followed by an attitude adjustment to Stewart as Ric Flair looked on and smiled. It's not like Jon Stewart was going to have some big run on top as a main event heel, but there was potential here to do something fun with Stewart as a short-time antagonist who had others do his bidding. Instead, all of this was completely forgotten about by the time Jon Stewart appeared with the New Day at SummerSlam 2016. Oh, and where was Jon Stewart when John Cena defeated AJ Styles at the 2017 Royal Rumble to win his record-tying 16th world title? Because that'd be too logical. Number 4. Shawn Michaels. As the burgeoning heartbreak kid of the post-Rockers days, or the politicking leader of D-Generation X, some would say Shawn Michaels was never better than when he was a cocksure prick. Given how Michaels had overcome a career-ending back injury to return in 2002, it was natural that the showstopper was a babyface for his second stint with the company. Well, technically third stint if you count the Rockers' initial cup of coffee with the promotion before they were fired after 2 weeks. Still, by 2005, HBK would turn heel in order to feud with Hulk Hogan leading into that year's SummerSlam. And wouldn't you know it, but Shawn once again made for a fantastic a-hole once he superkicked Hogan to get the ball rolling on this feud. As part of this turn, Mr. WrestleMania famously impersonated the Hulkster during a fake Larry King skit, and this all made for phenomenal pro wrestling television. But taking Hulk out of the equation, there was plenty anticipation to see what a fully heel Shawn Michaels could do with the younger babyfaces of the day. Instead, after Hogan's politics meant that this rivalry with Michaels was a one-and-done affair, Shawn immediately turned babyface after losing to Hulk. And with that decision, all hope of one last heel run for Shawn Michaels went out of the window. Number 3. The Killer Bees. B. Brian Blair and Jumpin' Jim Brunzell's entire time together in the WWF was spent as babyfaces, except for one night. Kind of. That night was the 12th of March 1988, with WWF running a Prism Network special from the Philadelphia Spectrum. In the main event, Hulk Hogan took on Ted DiBiase in a lumberjack contest that had the Killer Bees outside the ring. Like many before and after them, the Bees were swayed by the money of the $1 Million Man, and thus they put a beating on the Hulkster here, because everybody's got a price. Of course, Hulk would fight off the Bees and send them to the back, and then nothing more was ever done with this. Like, nothing at all. The commentators speculated whether it actually was Blair and Brunzell under the masks here, with it teased that it could have been other performers portraying the Killer Bees. Then again, B. Brian and Jumpin' Jim were in Philly that night. Regardless, this one night of villainy for the Killer Bees was never followed up on at all. Number 2, Rikishi. Yes, we all know he did it for The Rock, he did it for the people. The heel turn of Rikishi towards the end of 2000 stands as one of the most memorable moments of the Attitude Era. With WWF programming spending the best part of a year unraveling the whodunit saga of who ran over Steve Austin at the 1999 Survivor Series, it was finally revealed that Rikishi was the one behind the wheel on that November night. This revelation was a huge deal, with such a development the sort of thing to take a talent to the next level. Even more so when it had you butting heads with Stone Cold Steve Austin. If WWF handled this right, Rikishi would be a made man as a true top heel. Of course, this whole situation became cluttered and bungled, at least for Rikishi, when it was later explained how Triple H was the real mastermind behind the Survivor Series attack on Austin. With that, Rikishi became nothing more than a side dish. Sure, he got a pay-per-view match against Steve Austin and one against The Rock, but Rikishi was an utter afterthought by the turn of the year. In fact, by the following May, the big fella had already turned back babyface. Number 1, Dean Ambrose. Turning Dean Ambrose heel on the very same night Roman Reigns announced he was battling leukemia for a second time, that was certainly a choice, but nobody can argue that this wasn't at least a major shock. The Lunatic Fringe had been back on TV for 2 months here after suffering a triceps injury, and this return to action marked one of the rare times where the Shield brothers of Ambrose, Reigns and Seth Rollins were all back on the same page. So much so, Ambrose and Rollins won the WWE Tag Team Championships on that 22nd of October 2018 edition of Raw. Of course, that tag team title win was immediately followed by Ambrose turning on Seth, ushering in a new heel persona for Dean. Despite some taking umbrage with this turn happening on the same night that real life tragedy took centre stage, at least this offered up the truly mouth-watering prospect of a first villainous singles run for Dean Ambrose. For those who'd seen Ambrose's prior work under his Jon Moxley guys, they knew just how vicious, sinister and outright chilling he could be. Instead, the heel Ambrose that we got was a gas mask wearing cowardly heel whose main focus was on getting vaccinated to protect him from catching anything from wrestling fans. It was dreadful, it was such a waste, and it all directly led to Dean Ambrose choosing to exit the company. So that's our 10 amazing heel turns that WWE immediately ruined. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, share, turn those notification bells on, and come and give us a follow on Twitter at WhatCultureWWE. While you're there, you can find myself at Cultured Left Peg, but most importantly, be sure to have the best possible day. Whether you're doing something or whether you're doing absolutely nothing, I hope it goes well for you. And if things aren't going so well, I hope they turn around as soon as possible. I've been Andrew Paul from What Culture Wrestling, and I'll catch you down the road.